Welcome, everybody. We've got Kathryn Knock of Kathryn Knock and Animal Intuitive to talk about being a psychic and her business and growing that with chronic fatigue. So I'm super excited being an absolute animal lover if any of you follow me on social media. So I would love to introduce Kathryn. Go ahead, Kathryn, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thanks so much, Ruth. I'm an animal intuitive, which means I'm a pet psychic. I talk to people's cats, dogs, horses, sometimes less usual animals, including snakes and tortoises. And I like to bridge the communication gap. Like they can't talk English, we can't talk cat, dog, whatever. And I like to be the bridge that helps people to understand how their animals are thinking and feeling, and help their animals to communicate anything they want to get across to their pet parents too.
Oh, wow. I'm so excited. So how did you find this gift? When did it all start?
When it all started is a really super interesting question and one I get asked loads. So I guess I've always had an affinity with animals, but I'm not one of these people who can tell you from the word go I was always able to hear animals' voices in my head or anything. Um, but I always had a really nice connection with the animals. I was the one, like when I was growing up, we had dogs at home and my parents would take them to classes, but it would always be me that could end up getting the dog to do the homework if they were struggling. I was super into horse riding as well, and I had my own horse, who I regard as my first absolute soulmate. And and he and I had a connection like no other. And then I spent pretty much the rest of my life to date seeking out that quality of connection with animals. My particular interest is horses, but absolutely all animals. And I did quite a lot of training in like horsemanship styles, so natural horsemanship, horse behaviorism. I did a whole extra degree in equine science, and and it really all just kind of keeps on coming back to a little workshop that I did 14 years ago, a couple of hours of an evening, called Intuitive Animal Communication. And I went to it, and it was yeah, I got on all right. I was getting some results. People in the room varied, and as to I can't see anything, I can't hear it, it doesn't work for me. And I was going, oh, yeah, I can see this working. It then So yeah, I did that a couple of times. I did like an extended day course and things. So this is my thing is everyone can learn how to be an intuitive animal communicator. You don't have to be born with it at all. Um, but it was a bit weird, and I was thoroughly cynical of myself for quite a long time. I'm just making this up. I'm just cold reading the person's body language and the horse's body language or whatever. And I do it kind of sneakily under the radar, like practice with people's horses. Just always end up in conversations. Like there was a forum in the UK that was really common, really popular a few years ago, called Horse and Hound Forum.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, there was so many really outspoken people on there, like absolutely dissing animal communicators, calling them scam artists and things. So no wonder I didn't feel like coming out. Um, but yeah, I'd have these kind of private conversations and practice with people's animals, and until and I'm cutting out a fair bit of story in the middle here. I eventually decided I can't not do this properly, and in 2021 I was still in recovery from a virus before viruses were popular. I had a really serious virus in 2019, and then the pandemic hit, and that put a lid on all my plans to work practically with horses. And I what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I need something that I can do for working from home. I need something that I can do sustainably with my energy levels, because I was developing chronic fatigue. And yeah, I kept on coming back to, what if you can people to help people and help their animals with this thing that I seem to be quite good at.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, what a great story. Oh man. And we were talking in the green room, so you've just quit your part-time job because this has taken off. So I mean, I
Yeah.
personally work in the spiritual space. I know how lucrative this is. I've done lots of research on it. My first ever client was a psychic and she's just exploded from when we started in a very short time. And when you look at the hits on YouTube for anything along those lines, there's hundreds of thousands of people looking for this stuff. Like right now, this arena is enormous. So from an ads point of view, super easy to market to. But tell me, like, you're not running ads. So how did you get from the position where you started to being able to quit your job? Tell us what's worked for you in that space.
I've been really lucky that it's a thing that people want to recommend a lot. People always want to recommend it to their friends. Like, I had this amazing experience. You've got to get so and so to talk to, your dog, cat, whatever. So it's been almost exclusively word of mouth marketing. I've got
Wow.
my website up. Like you say, I haven't done any paid ads anywhere. I have a little Facebook business page that does I think we're on about 200 likes on there, and reach is getting further because I did some training in visibility, and I've been trying to be really consistent in posting out on that. I've just opened a Facebook group that I'm trying to kind of attract people into, that's about how to be intuitive with animals yourself. And yeah, people, it really is mainly clients word of mouth marketing.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. Tell me a bit like about how that works. Because in the beginning, like I'm very small, so word of mouth for me just isn't going to gain traction for at least a year or two. Plus, like I run ads, so I'm lazy anyway. But like, tell me how that worked. We haven't had
Um,
guests on yet that really use that 100% to grow their business. So I'm excited to learn.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean. Can you
Like, tell
ask me
me
the
how
question
that
again?
started, because you have to get your initial clients for them to refer you, right? So how did
Oh
you
yeah.
get started with that?
I can't, oh gosh, how did I even get started? It was friends, actually, just friends on Facebook, kind of, oh, I'm doing this thing now. And a lot of them, no, some of them, maybe not a lot of them, some of them knew that I'd been doing it because I'd been practicing with their animals. Um, so yeah, started with friends actually. And I was I always, and I from the beginning, and I have always carried on doing so. We have an hour's or 45 minutes or an hour's consultation. Um, get to the end of the consultation. I always excuse me. I always part of my integrity with working in the field that I do, I check in with the client after the first 5 minutes after we establish that I've got a connection with their animal. And if either they are unhappy or if I'm not happy, because sometimes it does happen, sometimes the animal doesn't want to talk, sometimes I might be having an off day, sometimes we don't know. But if for whatever reason after the first few minutes they're not happy, we cancel and I just refund the session. So by the time they've got to the end of the session, I definitely know they're happy. I definitely know I've given them some really good, useful information about their animal. So I asked them if I can use their story in my social media. So I do a lot of my posts, or a lot of them are about stories, just telling the story of the animal that I've been working with this week. And I always ask them at the end of the call if they'd be happy to recommend me to their friends, because most of my work does come through word of mouth. So
Mm,
it's about asking every single person I work with, would you be happy to recommend me? If you know anyone, please pass my details on.
mm. I think that's one thing people don't realize, like your call to action. So a strong, solid call to action, like making sure that that is the end point when you're dealing with clients. I'm terrible with it, like very bad. I've been meaning to set up like a little send it out to like a post exit, please leave me a review to clients, and I just haven't. But that's super important. Calls to action on anything in marketing, telling people what to do, what you want them to do. So I love
Yeah.
that, really nailed that down, and that's worked for you. So
And if
most,
I'm seeking
oh, go ahead.
if I'm seeking like building my reviews and whatever, I'll send them a link. I'll send them a link to the page. I had a really good time. Would you mind just leaving a quick review here? And yeah, it's about like removing the barrier, isn't it? To
Hmm.
people, including myself, naturally lazy. So anything we can do to just go, oh yeah, that's easy. I can just click that.
Yeah, right. Make it easy. Link me in links, because I work with digital marketing, the bane of my life. You'll see people be like, post something online and it's not a link, so you can't click on it, and it's you don't realize how detrimental that kind of stuff is to your marketing. Like on podcast stuff, someone will put a thing, here's our pod. I'm not typing in your podcast info, like put the actual link so I can click on it. I'm going through a million podcasts in a day, or looking for something very specific in hundreds of groups that I'm in. I want to just click on the link and go there. People don't realize that these little details online are like essential. So when you make it easy for people to do what you want, you get more of it. I love that takeaway. I love it. And congratulations for going full time. That's the most exciting part of business, especially when you're in a business that you were like so hesitant to start because of your wounds and thinking people wouldn't, believe in you. It's marvelous to get to this stage, isn't it? To actually quit and be like, I'm actually a business owner.
Yeah, it really is. And it's terrifying, and it's a roller coaster of all things, isn't it? But yeah, but I think particularly when you're in any sort of woo-woo field, um the witch wound, as we call it, like the being worried about being visibility in case you're persecuted is real, and is a massive, like I think everyone struggles with visibility, don't they? But yeah, particularly for my sort of field of people, it's a real struggle.
Tell me a bit about the witch wound. You said you've done some work on it and stuff, and that's a huge thing for anybody in business. Our wounds are what holds us back so much. Like personally, I had such a fear of getting on videos. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But I love talking to people. So I had to bridge the disconnect of the digital realm and knowing that my strength lies in actually talking to people, but talking to do videos felt so ick for me. And it's taken me about a year to figure out the right format to be able to sit back and just have good conversations with people on a podcast, which I never would have thought I would be doing. But here we are, and I'm loving it. It's great. So tell me about let's dig into that a little bit.
So I've been self-employed as a side hustle or as a part-time thing for quite a long time, doing various different things. And it was always, I was aware, because I had a previous career in marketing, right? I was a brand manager, I should be able to market myself. And it was a huge source of frustration to me that I couldn't do what I knew I was able to do and do really successfully for some different brand or somebody else's business. And I was having friends that were dealing with exactly the same thing, and some of them really still are. A lot of it is to do with like fear of embarrassment, fear of being told off, as well as the how do you say it, like the anyone who would have, like, it's not that long ago historically that witches literally were physically in danger if they came out. So and it's really not that long ago. Like, people I know who have been doing tarot readings all their life have had really scary experiences. Like, it's within the current living memory, not just historical witch trials and burning witch at the stake and things. And so it's a big thing. And the thing is, when you're in this field and your mentors all have the same thing, they're not able to give you any advice. So I had to get outside of my own field and my own mentors and the elders within the community. That's not quite true, actually. There's one exceptional elder who has really got it nailed, that is a very close friend of mine. But yeah, for the most part, I had to look outside of our community. So first of all, I did therapy. I saw a therapist, and I was doing really deep work trying to heal my own wounds and restructure my own stories around money, around being visible, around being present and brave. And what has helped me throughout it all has been, I feel ridiculously lucky to be connected to my life's purpose. My life's purpose is to help people and to help animals. That's it. It's ridiculously simple. And I get to do that with this job. And I don't get to do that with this job if nobody flipping knows about it, right? That's the baseline for me. And that is what has really driven and given me courage to get on and do the scary things. and also I did the inner work, and that was not just therapy but flower essences and crystals and a whole load of every tool that one has one uses, right? And I can't say it was one thing in particular. I worked with a herbalist, I worked with a healer, all sorts of just threw everything at it. And so that was to kind of deal with the mindset and having the courage to go forwards. Even so, and the thing is about courage, you it doesn't mean you're not scared, right? It just means you do it anyway. So there was that on the mindset, and then actually to learn the skills and to find a community of people who were getting more visible. I looked to business trainers, I guess like yourself, to people who were running successful online businesses in different fields entirely. And I don't want to name someone else unless it's a thing that you're happy for me to do on here. But there was one particular. Oh, cool. Not that I don't think she's. Well, in fact, she's not a competitor of yours, but Lisa Johnson, really big name in being self-employed in business and growing your businesses. And she ran a visibility course not long after I started in my own business, actually, in my business for this. And so I got all of this mindset support in that, and I got all of the tools to be able to get more visible. And I got to be around a cohort and make my own cohort of peers who were all, even though they weren't in the same field as me, I'm pretty sure I was the only psychic, let alone animal psychic. But yeah, to be with other people in community that are still stretching themselves and growing in the same way really, really helped.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good. You seek mentors. When I read my cards, when I was in transition to starting this business, they kept saying like, get a mentor, get support. And I mean, that really is advice for anybody, because you cannot do it all alone. Like, you need someone to help you. And it was my psychic friend, actually, that gave me some of the best gems to move my business forward into the business that I wanted. It was working phenomenally the way it was set up, but I wanted to change all that. So I'm literally in a transition point right now to move it more into the spiritual realm. And amazingly, she just contacted me today and was like, hey, do you want to swap and come into my business course? And that's the way it's rolled with me and her. She needs something and I need something, and we've both been swapping and it's helped us both grow like over the beginning of our business. But that's the thing about marketing. It's funny you should say, do I mind you talking about it? Absolutely not. Like, even if I had guest stars as Facebook ads managers, the chances of them being in the same realm as me, like the spiritual realm, very unlikely. And even if they were, like, unless they have a team of 20 odd people, we only take on 6 or something clients. Like, there's plenty of people to go around,
And that's another mindset thing that's so common, isn't it? Like the scarcity mindset.
Yeah, it's a big world. We're digital. I can speak French, I can speak Spanish. If all of a sudden the whole of the US, Australia, the UK, and Canada dried up and didn't have anybody that needed ads, which is not going to happen, I could move into France or South America. Like, scarcity mindset is awful. Like, and it's just it's abound everywhere. And it's funny because I was making more money a couple of months ago, but now I'm in the middle of a divorce. I told you I moved to Vegas. I feel like I've got way less money than I did, obviously, because everything's happening and we got to pay all this stuff, right? But I feel like I am more abundant now than I was. And that's all the self-work that's come over the summer of growth, healing the witch wound, healing other wounds that are there, like your money mindset. And I literally switched my ads off for now because I'm busy doing this. And it's about having faith and just keeping going. Once you clear those wounds, like seeing the path of what you need to do and feeling into it, it's just so much easier. I'm like, yeah, I can pay rent next month. It'll be fine. I'll figure it out. With like zero stress. And
like you've given it back to, I say, give it back to God, whoever you believe your higher powers are. Like I know, like in the room when we were talking before, like you've asked for the help and it's coming. It's in fact it's already helping you, isn't it?
Yeah, helping me like as a person, and I know the business will flow from there. Like, in the fact
I do just want to call out to anyone who's in this kind of spiritual who has a spiritual interest and connection, because it's a thing that is easy to hide behind as well, isn't it? I'll just wait for the universe to provide. I'll just what will be, and they're really helpful, useful tools, and I'm not dissing them. I use them myself. They are incredible, powerful, but it's not like asking it is given. It that manifesting is the whole point of manifesting is that you also do the things, right? You don't just you have to put the Facebook out there, you have to put yourself out there, you have to look for the opportunities. Like if you're trying to manifest a house, you have to actually go to some estate agents or look at adverts, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the universe is like, it'll give you a sign. It's a road sign, but you have to go down the road. You have to follow that.
You have to actually walk the path. Yeah.
Like the amount of people, you know, like they want a beautiful relationship, but they stay in all the time. It's like, well, you know, you have to go out there and put yourself out there, because in doing those actions, you learn things that put you on the path of where you need to be. Just like right now, I have my old ad switched off. The old business is gone. And I have no idea. I mean, I do have an idea of where we're going. I don't know if this is going to work, but I feel like it will. So I'm just putting all my effort and time into this. And I'm actually enjoying the business. Whereas before I felt like it was this clinical, I knew it was going to work. And it just, I mean, how good does that feel? No. You know what I mean? The energy, the energetics in that, I was like, yeah, it worked. And then I could just feel my sales start, because I wasn't enjoying myself as much as I thought. And then I'm like, okay, I need to make this business for me. And now I'm like 4 or 5 hours a night just doing edits and videos and put them up, and it's no trouble. It's like easy. Whereas I felt anything I had to do previously was like, there was a lot of resistance there. So it's like listening, really tuning into that in your body. And if you're having resistance, it's telling you to go in a different direction. It's like somebody saying, stop, like, you know, pay attention. Where do you need to go?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And you meant, and yeah, the idea of listening to your body. One of the other strands to my bow is I'm a confidence coach for horse riders, but you know, we end up working with so many other things. They end up getting confidence in their life and more realizing what they want and more assertive and things. It's never only about the horses, even if we're only talking about the horses. But one of the exercises I get people to do is stop and close their eyes and listen to their heart, listen to their head, and listen to the heart, or like they got the belly instinct. Like we've got so much richness and wisdom in our bodies if we will just stop and listen to it for a bit. And I know, like you, like I've used these tools to guide me in my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more people are getting savvy of that, like especially women. Like we receive energy and what's happening around us in our body, but we've living too much in our head because we, you know, got pushed into a very masculine role. So it took us kind of away from where we should be, which is sitting down and being quiet and feeling. And when I started plugging into that, like things really changed, lost tons of weight, like got more relaxed, really figured out how to be the creative person I needed to be with RW creative marketing. And then I feel like flow is happening now where it didn't. It was like duty before, because the business was built based by male. I mean, it was actually a lady, but people that taught her were very male and very hardcore sales focused. And it just felt like what I was doing before. And then moving into my body and moving more into let it flow. Let it go and let it flow.
Let it go, let it flow. Yeah.
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 We're holistic now too. I feel like I can see stuff better too. When I've speaking to people like you know, and talking about all the things that go into making a business, healing those witch wounds, and then I kind of see the digital aspect as well, and similar, like email drip feeds, social media, ads. No one thing works; they all work together. And over time, this business, I feel like I've really nailed the next one, nailed the next. This one is social media because it's the one I hated the most. And people think
you hated social media the most,
right? Yeah, people think ads and social media on ads are the same thing. They're absolutely not. Social media ads are like on the back end. Social media is your presence, you're using your voice, speaking your truth, getting your you out there. But probably I was so resistant to it because I didn't know who I was and what I was doing really with the business. It didn't feel right. And I
And I
bet
really want to because you're touching on all my high horse subjects, so I'm going to get on my soapbox for a moment
high
here.
horse, yeah, I love horse.
Yeah, no pun intended. But we absolutely, there is no getting away from the fact that we are women trying to exist in a society that is absolutely structured from bottom to top, left to right, for men. Like, I'm sorry, guys, that's the hand we've been dealt, right? And some really interesting stuff is coming out now for female entrepreneurs about the 24-hour cycle is geared around males' energy levels. Men tend to get energy waxes and wanes in a 24-hour cycle, but ours is much more over a 28-day cycle. So the idea of having a point in your cycle where you're most creative, a point in your cycle where you're most outgoing, and a point in your cycle when you need to back off and rest. And actually, coming back to the chronic fatigue thing as well, like knowing that or it's almost like so passionate about this, can't speak. It's almost like an act of rebellion to be able to stop and rest, right? Especially, we're always told hustle, hustle, hustle.
Oh, right.
Show up visibly every day, do this every day.
And
And
the
it's like,
guilt
actually,
too. What do you mean?
God,
You should be working.
yeah, yeah. And you've got your mobile phone, like you don't even switch your laptop off overnight. You're constantly looking at your emails, your social media and stuff.
Mhm.
And no, enough. Slash the patriarchy. Make us all stop, because we are so much better off for not necessarily having to do those things all the time. The female entrepreneurs who I really love and respect are the ones who have like an autoresponder on their email saying may not get back to you for a few days. And I think that's so powerful, because you're just like, yeah, why should we be on 24/7? You absolutely have to give good customer service. I'm not trying to pretend you don't, but oh, to be a human in the midst of it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we've talked about it on some of the other podcasts with my more spiritual guests. Like, women were not designed for a 40-hour week. Now, humans weren't. Men are much more capable of dealing with that than us, though. Because, I mean, you think about it, like 1 or 2 weeks of the month, we feel like we've been run over by a train, literally. And we're supposed to be sitting in the red tent with the rest of the grumpy ladies and out of the way, just quiet being, while our cycle regulates. And like you say, there are times where we're super creative, and there are times where we're more low, where we should be like peeling the peas or whatever, sitting quietly, doing something like that in nature. But we get forced into these crazy careers where we're working like men. And I think I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a huge spiritual awakening over the last few years since COVID. And I think COVID gave people the chance to actually sit and be with themselves and give them the time that they needed to start doing that introspection. Because when you're working 40 hours a week and taking care of kids and a husband and all the rest of it, or vice versa, you don't have time to sit and be with yourself. Like, you literally don't have any time to sit and allow your body to come into that creative force and start channeling from there. So we're always stuck in ego and stress, and then the rates of cancer going through the roof, because of lack of sleep and all the other factors that a lifestyle like that provides.
Yeah. I've been reading about ultra processed foods recently, and trying to cut down a bit without going extreme. And they exist because it's really hard to have the time to prepare proper meals from absolute scratch these days. Like a whole lifestyle's busy on, and nobody, like, even like our parents' generation were much more likely to be able to have one person stay at home to be the homemaker and the child raiser. And that's gone for us guys. We every home, if it's a couple in a home, like, chances are both of you need to be working, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if you want to have a family, because
Mm.
something could happen to the other person and then, you're in trouble. I've gone the opposite way. Like I've made it a big point. I wanted to work less, and financially, you know, probably end up balancing out the same or not. If it doesn't, I'd rather work less and make less money and just adapt my lifestyle. I don't really care about stuff. It doesn't, and that's the thing, you know, stuff's another thing. It's just another addiction. Our phones, our stuff, our social media, whatever, like everything's an addiction to take us out of the stress of living this life that we don't really want to live. But the entrepreneurs like yourself who have the courage to go forth and bring their gift into the world can start living the life they want on their terms and start spreading that way and start spreading, you know, the peace that everybody desires in the world. And that all starts with like one person. And amazingly, you know, being your own entrepreneur is how you do that, because you stop swapping time for money, getting paid peanuts, and having to work 48 hours a week to pay the bills, and actually start to make a good living where you're supporting someone else with something that you absolutely love, like animals.
Yeah, and you can't do this sort of work if you're burnt out. You can't. That's another thing that I'm, again, I come back to like the chronic fatigue thing. I'm doing a lot better than I was. But I have, when you and I consider my chronic fatigue, it was as a result of a virus, but it was also as a result of complete burnout, right? From living way too, burning candle at both ends, like way too many years, not even like a matter of months or whatever. And yeah, I think if you've hit that, like if you've hit that low point, then you're super aware of trying not to go back there again.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get I get evangelical to it. I try not to, but yeah, I get a bit evangelical to my friends, like, no. What do you mean you want to work through the weekend? No, you have to take a break. You know, you won't know until it happens to you. Don't let it happen to you.
Yeah, I felt like I was going to die when I had chronic fatigue. I literally remember my hair falling out. You know how bad it is. And I couldn't lift my shopping bags up the stairs. I was living in Manchester at the time. And I was just like, this is it. It's the end. I can't even stand up. And I had nobody to help me, you know, so I still had to go to work and try and function. And it was the biggest reality check of my life. And even today, though, like letting go of that A-type personality that got me to that situation, I still, you know, I'll just do a quick little bit of work on the weekend, or I'll just email this client, you know, especially when you're new in business. And it's like, that
Yeah,
really
especially if you're enjoying it, right? I think you probably love what you're doing, and
yeah.
same with like, oh, I'll just carry on doing this. And yeah, it's I think it is one of those things that we will be in recovery for the rest of our lives, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like I have to be super careful. I can't go out drinking more than 1 or 2 nights. If I do 2 nights, I start feeling really depressed and it really hits me hard. Not that I go out drinking very often, but if it so happens, you know, a couple of drinks, it's like I'm really very, I mean, it puts you very aware of yourself to be able to heal that. You have to be. I went vegan for about 3 years to heal. And then I kind of cycled back a little bit because I was miserable because you can't get any vegan food back. That was like 10, 15 years ago, you know. You couldn't get any vegan food anywhere. And I just remember crying over another piece of bread with some tomato on it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. So I started to cycle back into a more regular diet. But this is the inflammation that is basically my body saying, you know, like this regular lifestyle isn't great for me. When I was vegan, it was gone completely.
Right.
But it's like a balance. It's like I have to live life rather than be miserable. I mean, I should probably try vegan again actually now. I don't know. But yeah.
Were you also doing other things when you were vegan? Like, how was your lifestyle when you were vegan in general?
Yeah, well, I had to chill out because I couldn't physically do anything then. I literally
Right,
like
because it was when you were
able
bad
to
with fatigue. Yeah.
drink and party or anything like that. And I was doing university, that's why I did biomedicine to learn more about this and the body, and so I learned all about herbology and naturopathy, and that's really what brought me out. So I really took care of my diet, and I was on a lot of supplements for all those years, and slowly I got myself regulated. And then still now, you know, moving states and a divorce, my hair started falling out again, but I'm very aware of it. I was like, oh, okay, we're starting to get stressed, starting to get the bags. So I got my supplements out again and took them for about a month, and everything's calming back down. So as soon as I see anything happen and I'm able to treat it myself, which is why I did the degree, But, you know, not a lot of people go and do that kind of research on themselves. Like
Yeah,
finding,
or have the luxury, you know, the ability to go and do that. And we can't all be experts in everything, can we? But yeah, one of the things with having an illness that Western medicine just doesn't really have any answers for how to treat or cure is you definitely end up looking into alternative stuffs, don't you? I think that's how an awful lot of us end up getting into yeah, your herbs, your natural, I can't say it, naturopath. Go on, you say it.
naturopathy.
Thank you.
Naturopathy. See, that's the thing with like chronic fatigue and MS as well. It's a range of symptoms. So it's not going to be the same root cause for every one individual. That's not how humans work. And that's why modern medicine can't make a pill for it. It's like this is your body basically grinding down like a car if you don't have oil in it. Different things are going to break on different cars, but the result is still going to be the car won't work, right? So you have to go in and fix different things. It could have like been a thyroid issue that started it with one person. With me, it was my adrenals. With another person, it might be their gut just not getting the nutrients into the body that they needed, then sent them into like this toxic state, which made nothing work. There's so many things that can go in that feed into that. But I mean, the takeaway is get a holistic life and, you know, holistically take care of yourself, mind, body, spirit, and you'll regulate that. Eat
And
well.
it's funny how we've kind of come full circle again to the listening to your own body thing, isn't it? Because like you were mentioning like your physical symptoms and your redness and your inflammation cascades, and yeah, when we start to feel tired and like I know I can't give up coffee. I know I shouldn't have coffee. I have been through stages where I've got down to like one decaf coffee in the morning, but rip that out of my cold dead hands, I dare you. But I know like at the moment I'm just kind of like I want about 2 coffees to function a day, and they're caffeine ones, and I'm like, we need to listen. And again, you know, the way society is structured now, we have to actively rebel against the way the tendency for what our days probably look like to actually stop, take a breath, get grounded, and yeah, pay attention to what is going on in our bodies. Because if we don't listen when it's like animals, you know, if we don't listen when they whisper, they're gonna have to shout, and it's not so nice when your body has to shout, is it?
No, definitely not. Been there. So I tuned in a little bit more for sure. Oh wow. Yeah. And business is one of those things as well. It just teaches you so much about yourself. Like the journey I've been on and from the start of my business to now, and the stuff I've learned has probably been more than the last 7, 8 years that I've learned to be able to be effective in it, tuning into what's working, what's not. And this, you know, marketing is very clinical. Like you can take the data and figures, but with business, you have to figure out business for you. Like it has to work for you. So you go buy something on the internet or buy, you know, a product that you want to sell or a Shopify store, and you have to figure out why it doesn't work. And that's a lot to do with like you as a business owner, because people buy from people, no matter what it is, even if you have a store, you know, people are buying the message or, you know, the ethos behind that product. So you have to find a way to really like, and if you're not in tune with yourself, how do you promote that in your business? It's taken me a long learning curve to start getting that out into the world, like who I am.
Yeah, right. If you don't know who you are, how on earth can you share who you are with other people?
Yeah.
And it comes back to that abundance, doesn't it? Because yeah, there's none of us are the only entrepreneur doing what we're doing. None of us are the only option. Like maybe few people in the whole wide world are, but most of us have competition, right? Um, and yeah, well, I'm just repeating what you say now, but people buy from people, and for goodness sake, you let people have a chance to know your personality, to get to know you. Because that's the reason why people choose how they choose who they work with. You know, can I get on with this person? There's a piece about, I think, increasingly there's a piece about like, do their morals and ethics add up with mine as well? I think we're seeing a lot more people getting called out for bad unethical business practices as well, aren't we?
Yeah. I've actually, like, even in the beginning stages of business where I could barely pay my rent, I turned down clients because I was just like, no, I don't. You give me the ick. I got on, oh my gosh, I remember getting on a conference call with a bunch of people. One of them was rude and they still wanted to work with me. I was like, no, I don't want a boss. That's why I started a business. Like, I'm the expert here. Either you follow my lead and trust me, or you can just not have your ads working, which they probably still aren't because they were just, so kind of negative. One of them was. The rest of them were all on board. And it was just like, I'm not, no, not playing with that dynamic. And then I've had other clients where, just from the ethical standpoint, like they had the money, but they weren't. I was like, you don't know what you're doing. Like, I'm not going to take your money and run ads to this thing when you don't know how to run this business. So yeah, ethics is
Or
huge.
even if it's not like, if it's not the right thing for them, or if it's not the right time for them, or if they don't have the right, but not if they don't have the right budget, but if it's not, like, I'm guessing you turn people down if you think actually you don't need to be spending on ads at the moment. You'd be better off doing this other thing instead for now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Some people just don't have a product that makes it worth paying me to run them. That's why I set up a course. So the link's going to be down below, but that was part of the new business. It's like 99% of the people I spoke to just they can't afford me, that were coming through the old funnel that I had. And it's like you're trying to convert these people and, that weren't
And they haven't
really,
got the budget.
or ads didn't understand it, probably didn't know what their business, their business probably wasn't right. So I got rid of that. And I've moved into, I have this funnel now, which is like, it qualifies you. So it's like, if you're ready for an ads manager, you can talk to me. If you're not, here's a course that you can figure out ads for yourself.
Right.
So I did,
Brilliant.
so probably 99% of the people are going to go to the course, which, and then a couple of them will fall out and come into the pipeline, and that's fine because I want to stay small. I don't have any vision of growing into a multi-million-dollar company myself running ads. So for now, like 3 or 4 clients a month is perfect, and that's the new business ethos. But yeah, so I have turned down clients before because I've worked with clients one-on-one. That's my unique selling point. They're like my besties. I'm talking to them every day. They message me. It's very chill. It's just constant flow of them understanding what's happening, or not, but at least they're in contact with me. They're always asking me questions, They're like, what's happening or with this? And I'll try and explain it to the best of my abilities. But, they have somebody to take care of them, and they feel taken care of because they always have access to me. So I don't want to get away from that.
No. Like, and yeah, that absolutely shines through, doesn't it? Like, it's very obvious that that you're going to be there to look after people. I think that really shines through just in talking to you today.
Oh, that's what I'm hoping. Putting myself out there on podcasts.
And I think the thing is, what's the universal law that I'm trying to quote? I'm making myself try to sound like there's a thing, isn't there? Like the law of oh, good Lord, my words.
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity, yes. Or like, you give out what you get back. And like, if you are so inclined to be bitchy or passive aggressive, or if you've got unhealed wounds that are just simmering under the surface and you're really quite bitter about, I've seen some business owners who, like, they're targeting people who have money to spend on luxury services and things, but there's this simmering kind of resentment under the surface of like, you've got more money than me and I should have some of that money, and it's grabby, and it's like, their groups are horrible places to be because everyone's got this bitchy kind of firing off each other energy, and yeah, I what the heck, like, be careful what you put out there, because yeah, you'll get it back, right? If you're struggling with nasty clients, just maybe check yourself. I don't know. I think everyone, we're always going to have a few that slip through the net. I had a client not long ago who said they were absolutely fine. As far as I'm concerned, the communication went absolutely fine. And then one of their relatives saw the notes that they had written for themselves for the session. So I don't make any notes. I'm too busy channeling. I always tell my clients, grab a pen and paper, make your own notes. And yeah, so their relative had seen the notes that they'd made. I've got no control over what someone's writing, right? Especially when they're on the other end of a call and the other end of the country. They weren't in a different country that particular time, but they were not physically with me at all. And I got this really angry email from not even my client, the client's relative, who had clearly decided, I think had clearly decided that what I do is absolute rubbish. That's fine. They're entitled to their opinion. They weren't my client. They weren't the ones who paid for my service and were happy with it. And they'd made up this story from like the notes that that my client had written that they'd kind of come across in the living room and seen. And I had a really aggressive email in my inbox to deal with, and it wasn't even from my client. They were complaining about a service that somebody else had. It was mad. So you will, some will get through the filters sometime.
Yeah.
Whatever you do.
The way I try and reframe it for people, and I've said this many times, like when you start, nobody is going to be jealous of you if they don't think you're doing something they want to do. And I think that was Jasmine Starr that said something. She said it obviously a lot better than me, but that's how she dealt with trolls. And when I reframed it like that, I was like, oh, wow. So, I mean, I didn't have any trolls at the time. I was kind of new. So I was like, when do I get my first troll? Like, when does it look like I am like really like have my stuff together? And then I started getting my first trolls. So I try and put that out as much as possible on social media, because it's like you are making it, sister, when you're getting people just randomly talking crap about you and sending you crappy emails or telling you don't know what you're talking about. And it's like they are jealous of what they see you doing because they can't do that. So, I mean, to me, that's like, I don't know, that's a good thing.
It's a massive compliment,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
especially on social media, because it's hard to gain traction on social media. So when those start coming in, it's like, you got it, girl. You're getting it, you know, or whatever. Like you're making it. Like, people are looking at you and taking you seriously enough to feel angry that they can't do that. So trolls are awesome. And if you reframe like that, it makes dealing with them so much easier. I'm always like, yeah.
I mean, they're great for engagement on your social posts, aren't they? Like I was taught that if you have a troll kind of
Argue
replying
with
to your
them as much
comments,
as you can.
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And if you've got the audience built up, I've seen people like, I leave them because my audience, I don't even need to reply to them. My audience will defend me.
Yeah, perfect.
All the time your engagement is going up, and then you have like a subject to talk about for your next several social media posts and your TikTok video and things, and like, great, you've just given me a whole load of content to talk about.
Yeah, that's how it worked with my psychic client. Like we only worked a very short time in the beginning because we both went off and did other things. But I mean, normally it's 3 months to get traction. And with her, we just exploded, like hit the ground running, because I got our beautiful creatives. We tested the ads really well. We were going to group. And so, and then she had a whole bunch of gorgeous creatives already for whatever she was selling, all her programs. And that 1 month of ads feeding into that group caused such a hoo-ha because of all those creatives, with everybody sharing and liking, and like the traction she got from there doubled in the next month or two without ads, just because of that algorithm stuff. So there's another gem. Like trolls, what, it doesn't matter who they are, argue with them as much as possible, or at least just comment so they comment back, or annoy them. Like find any way you can to get more traction on those ads, and just like keep the conversation going. You know, for clients, I do if they're really ugly comments, I will just get rid of them rather than argue with them, because you know you got to be professional. But with my ads, like the more you get, the more you get better. But yeah, she's done like phenomenal, and it was that first bump of get everything right, find out what people like, and then the shares were insane. She was getting so many shares on this one ad, and I think she had 200-300 loves, likes, comments on each one of her ads. That's what I'm saying. The spiritual space is phenomenal. Like people will really support you there, because that's kind of how it works. You know, and the odd troll, whatever. She's had 1 or 2 trolls, but nothing. I mean, you do get weirdos in that space, like, or people just with like mental issues. So I always try and like deal with them with grace. Like, okay, they're being a little snarky or whatever, but go gently, because you never know if they're suffering or not. When I say argue with trolls, that's what I mean, rather than like try and be horrible. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
Engage with.
yeah. So that
I
algorithm.
think, and that was sort of what my reflections on my complaint. I guess they were a troll, weren't they? Because they certainly weren't a customer.
Oh yeah,
Um, but
100%. Karen.
yeah. Do you know, I never thought about them as a troll. That's a really interesting kind
Yeah,
of
you got
framing.
trolled. You got
I
trolled.
got my
It
troll.
wasn't just on social media. It was like she went out of the way to find your email to then email you. That's like a super troll.
That was a dedicated one, yeah. I mean, she was threatening to leave honest reviews all over the internet for me. Um,
Ugh.
and I don't want to invite it. I don't want to entertain the idea, and you know, whatever, that got resolved peacefully. But a little part of me was like, yeah, go on, do it, because what I really value as a consumer is seeing how businesses respond to complaints, right? I
Mhm.
think it's super telling of the individuals. And I've been looking for like a nice restaurant in town, and like if I go to the TripAdvisor and stuff, sometimes you can see the manager replies to every comment, and that's gonna go either way, right? Either the manager is an absolute so and so, that you're like, oh, I really don't want to go to your restaurant anymore, thank you. Or
Mm.
you're like, oh yeah, you're completely reasonable. It's really obvious that that person was being unreasonable. It's really obvious that you did everything you could to try and fix the problem, whatever. I think it's a really powerful tool, seeing businesses respond to complaints.
Yeah, or I've had one like one of the businesses we went to, the portions were ridiculously small for the amount, and I looked at the reviews and quite a lot said it, and they would just copy paste the same response, and it was like, oh well, that you guys really don't care, you know.
Mm.
So you're right, like how people respond, not necessarily that people say bad things, but isn't this like an analogy for life though? Oh, bad stuff's always going to come at you. It's how you respond that dictates how people see your character. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been an exciting conversation. I love it. Did you
So fun.
you said you had maybe some questions about like where you're at? We can go over some of that.
Yeah, so I'm in the stage of trying to grow my audience. So I've got my lovely clients who work one-to-one with me and who are recommending me. I'm always up for more of those as well. But I'm in the stage of starting to develop courses and to be able to teach other people what I do. And that's there's an overlap, right? But there's a slightly different ideal client for that. And I've got somebody working on a funnel for me, and I've got my own mailing list,
Okay.
and I've just set up a group. I've got the Facebook page, as I say. I've got my own personal page, which I'm using for my profile. But I'd love some help to increase the speed at which I'm growing how many people I can reach.
Mm,
I mean, I'm guessing probably one of the answers is get some paid Facebook ads.
yeah. I mean, that's the fastest way to do it. But my initial suggestions would be get your infrastructure set so you can catch emails, so you can keep up with people. That's number one. That's the easiest feed to get anybody into when you're paying. Landing page. What's happening on the landing page? Are they like signing up for an email on the landing page, or
I
is it
don't, well, I don't have because I don't have a funnel yet.
okay?
But it will be like your typical lead magnet, enter your email address to get the download.
Lead magnet. Yeah, I was going to say like lead magnets are pretty good again. Easier to get them to sign up. And once you have that landing page and your drip feed set up, you can go and just get like really aggressive in groups. So anywhere like that'll have pets, basically any psychic groups, any groups are really good if you know how to work them. So putting up a lead magnet in there, and you might have to try 2 or 3 different kinds of lead magnet. So whatever groups, like start getting into groups yourself and seeing how they work. It's taken me a good few months to really work out a group strategy, what I liked. And it's always lead with service, so you being in animal groups and stuff like that, being seen, making comments, being visible on the feed, that kind of stuff to warm up. So that would be like an organic strategy for you. And then I mean, ads to group are very cheap. That's what we did with my psychic client. They're about $3-4 a sign up. You test the ads well. You have to spend a little bit on the ads to get them optimized and figure out what your group want to see. But then after that, it's $3-4 to sign up. So you get people coming into your group signing up. Once they're
Is that,
you can sell to them
add,
again.
sorry.
You're fine.
Are you talking about ads to other people's Facebook groups, or to ads to get people to sign into your Facebook group?
Your group, you're going to want
Got
to
you.
sell to those people. So you can use ads. That would be the cheapest ad for you to
Didn't
start.
even know that was a possibility. It didn't even occur to me that that was a possibility.
Yeah, you can't add directly to group, which is really stupid, but you will do like a landing page, which will just be a group sign up. So they'll come out of the ad, they'll go to the landing page, and then there'll be like a group sign up. So that's usually where you could either do just to the group, or you could get them to sign up in an email, and then it clicks through to group. So there's a couple of there's always different ways you can go about it, or you can email sign up and then direct them to the group, or take the email in there. So there's one or two ways. That's something.
So at the moment, with the group entry questions that I've got for my group's really new to me. I've got, one of these, can I have your email address? Can I send you, my weekly newsletter? And I've made that optional because I only want people that really want it, right? There's no point to me, there's no point. I feel like if people are just starting to get to know me and have come into the group to see, and they haven't yet developed know, like, and trust with me, there's a chance to maybe capture their emails later on with something else. But I wondered, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Do you have any thoughts on, should I make it a compulsory question that you have to give me your email address?
I would go with gut on that. See what kind of people are coming in without leaving an email. Like, see how the interactions are. So group strategy is like, every 6 months, get rid of people who are dead weight, because the bigger the group gets, the harder it is for the
people see. Yeah.
Anybody that's rude or obnoxious, just bin them, just get rid. So keep your group healthy that way. And then just see what kind of vibe is happening in there. And then if everybody that's in there is vibing, is interested, and is participating, then I wouldn't worry too much about the email, because you can put things in there like your lead magnet. Hey guys, go download this, send them to your lead magnet so they can go and put their email in there from the group. So basically, once you have a group, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You just need to keep up with them once a week, give them value once a week, and then they know, like, and trust you when it comes around for you to sell your courses or one-to-ones. And you can put pin post in there as well. But group strategy just takes, it's all marketing. It takes a while to build. You can go into other groups that are relevant to your niche too, like mom groups, the places where they're typically going to have animals and be very caring. Mom baby groups, somewhere like that. Obviously psychic groups, obviously animal groups, horse groups, and then you'll find the ones that will work. And like you say, some of them will have like that real not very good vibe, and then just come at them. So you just keep looking for new groups, and you can post in there. Like, that's a group strategy, is going into groups and saying, hey, come and get my freebie over in my group. You can post in the ones that will allow you to post. So does anyone want this?
Okay. Come into my group so that you can get the freebie from there, as opposed to here it is. Right. Got you.
So you could put that, like, leave your email if you want my freebie, and have it go out on the first email. You need it attached to your first email anyway, because that's how it'll happen when they come through your landing page. So that's a strategy. And that one you can do organically while you're waiting for the page as well, like building the group. And you can just physically send them out the email for now or whatever, or if you have your drip feed, put in their details.
Yeah, that's a super good point, because I've learned a little bit about breadcrumbing, and I'm still finding my feet with breadcrumbing. One tip somebody gave me the other day was like, ask questions, do a poll in other groups, and that seems to really get people into conversation.
Yeah, you want to just try and interact rather than try and sell something. You're always trying to build value. And then another thing in the group as well, you can do like giveaways. So free session for whoever. I would wait till your group's bigger for that, so you get a lot of participation. Maybe not worth it for you to give your time away while it's small, or it might be, whatever you're called to do. Whoever brings in the most referrals to the group gets a free session, or get something that nobody else can get. You can do that. Do like every 1,000 or 2,000 people. And then that way, like, they all collaborate, and then you're going to start to see who's participating and really interested in what you've got. That's really going to separate the who is interested in your services. If they want it for free, then they want it, you know. So warming them up down the line, they're going to become buyers at some point. I mean, stuff like that, when you have groups, there's always going to be a whole bunch of them that aren't going to buy. It's a case of you're just spending time with it. There's always going to be the cold people, the warm people, and then the hot people. The hot people are probably going to come fairly quickly to you. The warm people take a little while. And then and you really want to pay attention to how long your client journey is as well, so that you kind of know. This is super important when you run ads. Like, we had a boudoir photographer. It's a 3 to 6 month turnaround from someone to see a boudoir photographer to booking. So we run ads. The first month we were getting leads, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not selling anything yet." It's still 2 months to 6 months out for buying, just based on industry. So you have to kind of be aware of that when you run ads. Like, how long is your
How would you find that out? Like, how would I find that out for my industry?
You're just going to have to watch, unless there's someone else doing something similar to you. Most industries, like a boudoir photographer, have an idea, or they already have some clients, and you can do like a survey as well. Surveys with your current clients, like how long did it take them to make the decision to buy? And that's something you definitely want to nail down. Any business needs to nail down. It will take a while to figure that out over time. I'd say mine in my old style of doing stuff, it was probably about a week. And then I had to close them at the end. So it was the very typical mask. And I don't like that. So I'd rather, maybe now it might be 2-3 months. I don't know. This is kind of a new format. So it might be 2-3 months of watching me on social media now before they convert.
Yeah.
They're going to convert willingly rather than me have to force them. So I would much prefer that. I'll get a part-time job or whatever if I need to, while this builds momentum and traction. And that's why, like, knowing that kind of stuff is super important, so that you can plan life around it, plan marketing, plan budget, be ready for that, and not just have $2,000 to put into ads and then freak out when you haven't made any money.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people really get disheartened with marketing, especially when they're paying for it, because they haven't understood their buyer's cycle, or how long it's going to take when they start marketing. But marketing is like, it's building the foundation, especially when you're brand new, especially when you haven't been in business for a while. You just gotta do it. You gotta build that foundation, and that takes a while. Doing it organically takes a lot longer. Doing it with ads still takes long, but speeds up the process. So I hope those were some useful strategies, at least to get going while you're waiting on your landing page.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then when my course is up, you can also follow. Actually, I think you could still follow the link and get the discount now as well to Facebook ads when you're ready to run those. Do them yourself. Yeah, you can let me know how it works, because I don't know if anyone's tested it yet, other than me.
I'll be there. I'll be the guinea pig.
Yeah. Yeah, girl.
Oh, Ruth, thank you so much. That is super helpful.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I've had a wonderful conversation with you today. I love it.
It's been really fun. Thank you.
Any links, any websites, anywhere you want to send them to come find you, like, let them know how to get in touch with you. We will put the links below for her and my stuff that we've been talking about today.
Yeah. So you can find me on my Facebook page and my Instagram under my name. You can see on the screen here, it's Kathryn Nock. You can find me on my website, which is animal-tales.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.